Hi, Keith Grisman for the Property Surfer channel. Plantation Rise Drive we're on site at. It's a split level home, as we've discussed in videos before. What we thought we'd do is give you a bit of an understanding of what goes on in the construction of your typical house. So split level design is a bit different. Largely it's done to incorporate a slope in a site, and you'll traditionally find that a garage is underneath and then the balance or the majority of the living area is upstairs to try and even out the slope. And then what happens is, particularly on steeper sites, you get what you call a cut and fill scenario. So if you look around me here, you can see that the site is cut, and I'm going to talk about some of what's going on here. But if you look immediately behind me, you can see the cut area. So the original slope of the site was up there, about where you can see those current fence posts, and they've cut this material out. You can see a bit of the layering. The soil reports we did here showed very stable, pretty traditional soil conditions for this area. You can see the change in colour show the slight changes in the soil conditions, but a pretty good base to work from here. So where that fill goes from, it's cut from here, and then it's effectively pushed down the hill to build up this site that's out in the front of us here. So this particular development, as I've said in the previous videos, is a duplex in a pretty non-traditional format, in the sense that there's no common adjoining wall. They're two separate houses on the one site, which is a great way to produce good financial viability in a project. So as I'm walking up here, you can see we've had a bit of fill put in here for the driveway, just to get the grades correct in accordance with building standards and council requirements. So the retaining wall that's here is not too significant. It's I think it's about 800 or 900 from the original ground level, which you can see matches up with that safety fence that's there. Running down, there's a little drainage culvert next door. You can see the fill that's been put into the driveway, and there's a little bit of fill that's been added here in the front of this first dwelling. So what that means is that from a development perspective, you've got a pretty nice driveway entry. You've got one house at the rear with car park. Here comes my construction supervisor. Yeah, so garage at grade on both of them, and what you'll find is that up above in both of these houses there'll be a second story that'll take a pretty good advantage of these nice views, which get even better when you're 3 meters higher than what I am now. So we'll walk over and have a look at what's going on under the ground. You can see some of the plumbing has already been put in place while the excavator's been here. You'll see it's obviously water supply, but here's some of the drainage which is already been put in ground. There's some of the footings that we talked about before. We're going to try and come on site here when we pour our footings to show what actually goes on in the ground. But these three holes here in particular are the staircase for the upstairs area, and then you've got line footings around the perimeter of the base slab. And again here you can see a bit of the drainage, which is in preparation for the laundry, which is the wet areas obviously downstairs. And then you'll also see here there's a switchboard. So a way to do it of late is switchboard gets pretty much put in place really early on, gets mounted on star pickets, and later on gets attached to the house. But of course underground is all of the wiring that's required. So that's probably enough for today. That's our initial ground prep works. We'll bring you back on site shortly once we've got the next stage to show you. Take it easy.